Welcome to the Friday morning show with your host Deanna Deacon, and I am so excited that it is another Friday because that means that you and I get to connect, communicate, share, learn together, grow together, expand together. And that's what we're here for. That's the whole point of life, right? To learn a little bit more of what's going on in here so that we can start to experience it out there. Now, today is sunny. It's actually raining and sunny where I live, which is beautiful and confusing all at the same time, just like life. So I'm going to see if I can share with you. Let's see. There it is. That is my yard. So if you happen to listen to my podcasts, this is where I sit and that's the view that I look at. You can't see, but there's a tree right there. And that tree is generally the one that I'm engaging with, watching, and like sitting and really soaking in the vibe of while I'm creating my podcast episodes. So if you happen to listen to my podcast, that's what I'm looking at when I'm spitting off all that stuff. Okay? First of all, if you're here with me, go ahead, comment in live, let me know that you're here. If you're watching the replay, hashtag replay so that I know that you came and watched. I can come and interact with you as though we were here live together, okay? It's so much fun when someone goes and comments in while they're watching the replay because when I'm reading your comments, I'm remembering what it was that we were talking about and it truly feels like we're together. So it's way more fun, okay? So if you're here with me live right now, comment in, say hi, and let me know where you're watching from. It's super fun to see where everybody is checking in from all across the world so that we can connect here in real time together. Now, today, I was asking myself, what's the concept for today? What are we talking about? And the concept that came forward, I actually sat with Dixie, my puppy dog. I held her paws, as I do, and we looked each other in the eye. And I asked her, subconsciously, what do people need to hear today? What's the lesson? What's the teaching? What's the thing that needs to come through that's going to create the greatest impact? And the concept that came through is acceptance. And the way that I'm going to bring this forward to you is a really simplistic way for you to bring acceptance into your life. And when you bring that acceptance in, allowing you to really cultivate this sense of peace and calm and content within yourself. And then also start to see more of that in your external world. Because everything we see externally is a reflection of who we are internally. So this concept and this practice of acceptance is going to help to cultivate that, okay? So if you're excited to learn a little bit about acceptance, we're going to go through it nice and quick, don't worry. If you're excited to hear about it, learn about it, and bring it into your life on a deeper level, comment in acceptance, okay? Go ahead and comment that in right now. I don't see any comments coming in, but I know some of you are here with me live, so I hope that they're coming up. Sometimes they don't show up. So if your comments aren't showing up, I apologize for that. But keep trying and maybe they'll show. If you're here with me live, comment in. Can I see you? Can I see your comment? One sec. Ta-da! I have technology to help me understand if we are here together talking about acceptance. I'm just going to hop real quickly into Facebook, make sure that if comments are coming in that I can see them because if I can't, I feel really bad. I want to make sure that we are here together and you're getting the most out of this that you can, obviously, for the Friday morning show. And the internet's not working. Okay, cool. Well, that's all right. Okay, well, I'm gonna spitball my stuff to you and hope that at some point this might turn out so that we can communicate together. If not, what I want you to do is that once this is over, once you've taken what you can from this, I want you to send me a message on Facebook and I want you to share with me what was your takeaway. What was your big takeaway from this conversation? What is the thing that you are going to start putting into action for yourself, okay? Now, we have 3 steps that we're going to go through and we could unpack each of these steps significantly more, but this is the Friday morning show. It's Friday. We're going to keep it nice and light and airy and make it feel good for us, okay? So I'm going to show you what those 3 things are. Hey, look, it's happening. Okay, whew, got it. If you're here with me live, comment in. And we're going to get started right now. First of all, take a deep breath. What does acceptance mean to you? What is acceptance? What does it mean? What does it look like? How does it feel in your body? Before I bring anything forward, I want you to tap into that, okay? What does it feel like in your body? How would you describe what acceptance is? Mm-hmm. Now, in order for us to cultivate this sense of peace and calm, there's 3 different stages that we're going to go through this term of acceptance, this concept of acceptance. Ultimately, once we've gone through all 3, we are going to have this beautiful, peaceful state inside where we are actually accepting of all of humanity. But in order for us to get to that place, in order for us to get to a place where we can witness anything that's occurring and find a place within us to see it through the eyes of love, it all starts right here. So the very first stage, the very first step of cultivating this peace inside of yourself, of cultivating this concept of acceptance, is to start with acceptance of self. Now, here's a really simplistic way that you can start looking at this. When I went through my holistic health coach training, one of the things that they really honed in on us was stop trying to fit in with society, because society isn't healthy, society isn't happy, society is not, the societal norm is not where you want to be. Start fitting out and being who you truly are, finding what brings you joy, finding what allows you to feel expressed, finding the ways that you want to share your love and receive love from others, and just start being that person and fitting out with the average societal norm. Now, this was huge for me because, one, I've never felt like I truly fit in anywhere. I've always been kind of that oddball girl who wants to dance around and make a lot of noise and be silly and all these things. And I have some really deep spiritual gifts. And for the majority of my life, that was not accepted. It was not acknowledged, or the people that I was around, they didn't even know what it was. So there was no support for me to try to understand it more deeply. When I started playing with this concept of fitting out, I realized that I got to be me. And it takes this internal confidence, a bit of courage for you to actually show up as who you are. But oh my goodness, it feels good. It feels so good just to show up as who you choose to be in that moment with no fear, no worry of how others are going to perceive you, if they're going to judge you or if they're going to like you. When you let go of that, when you create acceptance of who you are, you dictate the experience you're going to have with others. So that even if someone's giving you some snarly bitchy eyes, it doesn't even faze you because you feel so full of love for who you are. Now, within this example of fitting out, when I started exploring this, I came up against a lot of flaws in myself. A lot of things where I was like, oh, do I do that? Is that who I am? Oh, that's unfortunate. And I had to catch myself. And this is what I want you to do. Catch yourself when you're judging your flaws, perceived flaws, because they're not flaws. It's a part of who you are. It's what makes you who you are. A lot of the times, it's what people love about you, even if it's something that they kind of complain about or that it's just not their favorite thing, but at the same time, they love it because it's your truth, it's your rawness, it's your authenticity. So the first step in creating this acceptance of self is when you're just kind of observing who you are, what you do, the things you say, the way you show up, I want you to stop judging it and telling yourself that it's a flaw. And instead ask yourself, how can I work with this? How can I work with this personality trait that I have to better my own experience in life or to serve others more deeply? This one specific personality trait or experience that I have in life, it used to be deemed as a flaw, but now how can I utilize this to help myself, help my family, and help serve others? Okay? Go ahead and comment in right now and let me know if this is making sense. This is about acceptance of self, the concept of fitting out, and making sure that your flaws are seen as something you can work with, a tool that you can utilize with your life, okay? Go ahead and comment in right now. Okay. So on Facebook, Laurel, I see that you're here with me. I see that you're commenting. For some reason, it's not showing up here. So keep commenting, you guys. I've got my laptop open. I can see your comments coming in that way. So let me know. What is it that you're receiving from this piece of acceptance of self, fitting out, and making sure that your flaws, these are all just perceptions, your flaws are actually your gifts. It's actually what makes you special. It's actually how you serve your family, your community, your coworkers, whatever it might be. So start seeing them as such, and that cultivates this incredible sense of internal confidence, of that courage, of acceptance of who you are. Okay? Okay. Oh, Nikki, you're here too. Yay! Okay, so weird. I don't know why they're not coming up here. We've got it. Laurel, definitely. Nikki, yes. Woo! Okay, good. Yay, I'm glad you guys are here with me. Okay, so once we start cultivating acceptance of self, okay, and it does take courage and it takes dedication to really exploring who you are, what makes you feel good and bad, which are also perceived, what makes you feel good and bad, and choosing to accept all of you. Physical ailments, physical challenges, emotional ailments, emotional challenges, past traumas, past wounds, joyful aspects, what makes you tick, what makes you laugh hysterically to the point where you're snorting out your nose and your belly hurts and all these things. This is what makes you who you are. Stop trying to be like everyone else. Ain't nobody want that. Ain't nobody want a whole community of people that look and act and speak and show up as the same. That's boring. Not interested. You are you. You're special and unique, and allow yourself to really bring some acceptance of that into your life, okay? Christina, hi Christina, nice to see you're here, yay! If you're here live, go ahead and comment in, and of course, if you're watching the replay, comment in as well. #replay. Okay, the second stage of acceptance. So once we've started cultivating this acceptance of self, who we are, how we feel, what makes us tick, and really embracing this concept of fitting out. I hope you really hear this. Fitting out with society. Fit out, fit out, fit out. No more fitting in. So once you've started cultivating this, the next phase is to take all of this love that you're pouring into yourself internally and start to just open your eyes and see those in your life in an immediate factor. So this is your children, your partner, your family, perhaps your coworkers or your close friends, this like more intimate community around you. When you do so, when you kind of open your eyes to see them the same way you see yourself, this is when you start to create that essence of acceptance. Oh, she responds to my question that way because that's just a part of her personality, or because maybe she's struggled all morning and that's just the way that she responds. It's not a reflection of me. It's okay that she is responding in this way. I don't have to take it personally. This is just her showing up as who she is. It's when we start this practice of non-attachment. In my program, the Empowered Woman series, we're on week 1 right now, and this is one of the concepts is how do we practice non-attachment so that we're not emotionally engaged with other people's actions, so that people can do what they do. They do their things, they be themselves, they fit out in their own way, and we can appreciate and honor them for who they are, as opposed to taking every action they take and making it about us. You said that because of me, and you don't like me because you did this, and just like, ugh! I spent the majority of my life in that place, and it's not fun. Give me like a little girl with a hand up if that is you now, where no matter what anybody else does, it always feels like it's against you. Like every action, every word, every lack of phone call or text message is them making you feel shitty. If that's you, take a deep breath. And believe for a moment that there is another way. There's another way to show up, another way to exist. It's possible. You actually have the resources at your fingertips right now. It just takes a little bit of dedication and a perspective shift for you to be able to see that, okay? Laurel, fit out. I love that. Yeah, it's pretty good. Nikki, I think our flaws make us relatable. Yes, Nikki, that is such a great comment, because I went through this phase where I thought that in order for me to be in this role, for me to, have a business, for me to be a coach, for me to be coaching or teaching or offering concepts to people, I had to be perfect, and I had to have these concepts already completely mastered before I could share anything. But the fact is, in terms of mastery, that is a lifelong journey. And so, Nikki, to your comment of our flaws make us relatable, 100%. I had to learn that it's okay to show up on a video with a messy room. It's okay to, I think a couple weeks ago, show up on a video with my white fluffy robe with my hair crazy and coffee or tea breath and just being who I am, because that's what makes us relatable. That allows us to connect. And that's all we're seeking is connection. So I love that comment. Thank you. Okay, cool. So the second piece, I want you to really think about this and how this is feeling within you. creating acceptance of others, like that intimate community around you. Now, this, of course, is easier said than done. It takes perseverance, especially when it comes to things like your children or your partner who you're probably seeing every single day or every couple days. When you have years upon years of experiences with them, you get trigger points. It's natural. Different things that they do or say trigger you to a moment in the past when you felt unseen, unheard, unacknowledged, unloved, whatever it might be. The key here is to acknowledge when you're starting to feel triggered, witness what it is that triggered you, and then create acceptance of self. In doing so, you create acceptance of what they said, what they did, and who they are. Because if you're not accepting them, chances are there's a part of you that you still haven't brought acceptance to. That's how our external world is a reflection of our internal world. Okay, does that make sense? Can you comment in and let me know if this is making sense to you, if you're following along with the second step, acceptance of your intimate community. Yeah? Let me know how this is landing for you. Oh, Nikki, you love my realness. Thank you. I appreciate that. It's so much more fun. There's so much less pressure to have to try and be perfect. And even that concept, what is perfect? It's a perception. It's different for every single person, so there is no such thing as perfection. Except that everything is perfect because in our own eyes, it is a perceived perfection. It's a whole mind game. Okay, Laurel says, yes. Char's here. Hi, Char. Yes, with a big heart. Yay! Awesome. Okay, so say it with me now. First step, acceptance of self. Fit out. Be willing to see your flaws as parts of who you are and ask yourself, how can I work with this? How can I make this one of my most incredible attributes that I honor and I own every day? Okay. Step number 2 or stage number 2 is acceptance of your intimate community. So how can you take what they're saying, what they're doing, the actions they take, how they're showing up, and just create this big, beautiful, open, expansive love and acceptance for it? If you notice, a lot of what I do comes from the heart, because I believe that when we open our heart chakra, when we allow this energy center to expand, when we breathe deep into our lungs, this is what allows us to have that energetic vibration of connection, to feel acknowledged in ourselves, and to be able to acknowledge others by something as little as just looking them in the eye and taking a breath. Okay? So acceptance of your community around you. And remembering that if you are triggered, that's okay. Don't beat yourself up over it. Don't feel super guilty because of it. Acknowledge it. Perhaps make an apology if it's required or if it's necessary. And then come into yourself. Where am I not accepting myself? So much so that I feel challenged to accept them. Okay? That's number 2. We're going to go on to the third piece because the third one is a good one. Yeah. Okay, Nikki says, this is something I work on a lot. When I start getting upset with my partner, I turn inward to see what's going on with me, not them. 100%. So, Nikki, I actually did that last night. I noticed that for the whole evening, it's like I didn't have any patience or time for my partner. And he even acknowledged it. He said something. He's like, what's up with you tonight? And I didn't even apologize because I was just sitting in the stage of like, no, I'm not interested in this right now. And he wasn't doing anything wrong. He wasn't being a bad person. I don't know what it was. And then I reflected on that and was thinking, it was just because I was caught up in my ego about a variety of other things, and I was feeling unacknowledged within myself because I wasn't creating enough space for me to sit and journal and meditate and be curious about how I feel. And then after that, I ended up going and I had a really beautiful opportunity to teach a private yoga class for 2 friends of mine, a couple, and really just like honor them and hold that space for them. We had a beautiful candlelit yoga in their living room. The lights were dark and we were just like really deep rooting into our bodies. And it was in that practice of holding space for them and being in that experience that I was able to start releasing my ego and coming back into love, coming back into seeing through the eyes of love, letting myself know and feel and believe that it's okay for everything to be okay. It's okay. Everything as it's occurring right now, we can be okay with that. We can find acceptance within ourselves. And when we do so, we come into a more peaceful state, which allows us to take more inspired action towards everything in life. It's a really beautiful process. Okay. I want you to comment in and tell me so far which of these 2 steps is the most impactful for you. Which one are you like, oh, yeah, that's what I'm going to work on? Or Which one is like, that's going to be a bit hard for me? Comment in right now and let me know which one is feeling either the most amazing or that one's going to be challenging. Okay, comment in right now. This here looks disgusting, doesn't it? Oh, this is, that's funny. This is a vegan chocolate protein shake that I get from a company called Melaleuca. It's ideal to have 15 minutes before you have a workout, and it helps you use all of the fat in your body as your energy store to utilize your energy rather than the sugar in your body. So it helps you to burn more fat, have less lactic acid in your muscles, and have a better, stronger workout. So right after this, I'm going to do some, belly fit. You can't really read that, can you? But belly fit, if you haven't tried it, is the best workout ever. And I have tons of DVDs or videos on my laptop that I can watch. And I'm going to do one of those in my living room with Dixie. We're going to dance it out and have a good sweaty workout. Yay. Okay. Laurel says beautiful. And thank you for sharing an example. Absolutely. You are most welcome. Nikki says, with a big heart. And Shar, the second one for sure, but it's going to be challenging. Cool. So the second one is the one you definitely want to be working on, but it's also going to be challenging to do. Yeah. When you can reflect it back to yourself, that can be really beneficial because you no longer have to like be with the other person for it. Like you notice you're triggered and then you bring it internal. So now it's introspection. And then what I often do is I'll do that work and then I'll come forward again and say, hey, sorry about last night and the way I showed up. I think this is what was going on, or I noticed that this was something that I was moving through, or whatever it is. And I create space to apologize for my actions, not because I have to, but because to me it feels respectful to do so. So again, coming into the acceptance of my intimate community by acknowledging how my actions may have caused harm to someone else. Yeah, I'm a big fan of apologies, a big fan of forgiveness. I think it's really valuable and important. And I think that when we're too afraid to do it, we're probably in our ego because we don't want to be seen as having done something wrong. But I don't see it as I've done something wrong. I see it as acknowledging and sharing my journey of life. That's how I see it. Okay. Christina says the third one, need to take time to reflect on what is going on. Yeah. Okay. So Christina, that's still part of the second one. We still have the third one to go through, but taking that space to come internally and really just reflect on, how do I feel about this? That's a really big piece and creates a lot of space for learning more about who you are. It's quite interesting. Laurel, this is perfect timing because I'm moving in with a new roommate and I know some challenges will present themselves. Definitely the second one as well. Totally. Roommates are a perfect example of playing around with this. Notice when the space is there for you to apologize for any actions that may have occurred, and notice where their actions are really just reflecting how you're feeling about yourself. It's so good. Okay. Final one. Are you ready? If you're at home, give me a little shimmy. Give me a little shimmy shake and just let it out. Because it's Friday, yo! Yeah, I love Fridays. Okay. So we've created more acceptance of self. We're learning to fit out, and we're learning that our flaws are actually our superpowers. These are our special gifts that we need to cultivate and learn to work with as opposed to see them as something to work against, okay? Then we're opening our hearts and starting to be able to witness our intimate community through the eyes of love, through this concept of acceptance. The third piece that we're stepping into, which is, it might be a little big for some of you guys, but I'm going to bring it forward because I know you've got it in you, is creating acceptance for humanity. Now this is big. This is huge. All of humanity, obviously you don't know all of humanity. You haven't interacted. You don't know a lot about different cultures. You haven't been to all the countries and the different places in the world. However, I believe that we are all a part of a conscious collective. And this collective of energy is how we work with the world, with humanity, with people. That's how we interact with each other. And so when we bring acceptance into humanity, it allows this sense of peace to come from within. So for example, looking at some very challenging things that are occurring in the world, things like poverty, things like racism, things like mass shootings, all of these pieces, these obviously are not good things. I get that. They're not good. They're not positive. They're not happy, joyful things. But if you're sitting at home watching the news, bitching to your partner or your friends about how terrible the world is, how terrible things are, nothing's ever going to get better, politics are the worst, I can't stand that person, this sucks, that's awful, oh, there's nothing, the world is going to die. If you're in that energy, how are you fixing anything? How are you solving anything? How are you bringing anything forward that's actually going to make a difference and help solve these problems? You're not. You're actually energetically adding to the problem. You're bringing in more of that negative energy and that experience that's just pushing some of these people and some of these cultures into this negative place. So, here's the solution. When you feel that arising within you, when you feel that like anger and frustration, acknowledge it. And instead of just bitching it out to the people around you, funnel it into inspired action. This is how we create acceptance. So when you feel that burning inside of you, find what it is that is that deep core belief that you're like, this is not okay. This is not okay. When you find that peace inside of you, funnel this energy into something. Find a charity that you can support. Find an organization you can volunteer for. Create some sort of group in your community where you can have these conversations about it and what we can do to try and solve this issue or make some change or make some difference in this area. Use this energy for good and acceptance that this is who we are as humanity. Because if you're seeing something external and it frustrates you, there's still a part of that inside of you that has room to heal. Now, like I said, this is a bigger concept and a bigger topic, so it's okay if this is feeling overwhelming. It's okay if this is feeling like a really big trigger point for you. Just take a few breaths and just sit with it, okay? The main thing I want you to take away from this is I want you to know that when you just take that anger and take that frustration and take that aggravation and just blurt it out to the people in your community in a negative way, you're not helping solve the problem. You're not. If you can take that energy and move that into a constructive action, inspired action, a heartfelt action of acceptance that this is not okay, acceptance that change is ready to occur, that's when we're creating acceptance of humanity and acknowledging that we do have a role and that we can play a strong, big, beautiful role. We can make a difference. One person at a time, one heart space at a time. Because we are all connected energetically, and the way we show up as an individual impacts how humanity shows up, okay? Big one. Okay, go ahead and comment and let me know how you feel about that. Nikki says, TGIF, yeah it is. Nikki, we are all just doing our best, 100%. Every single one of us is doing our best with what we know. Even people who are deep-rooted racists within themselves, that is all they know at this point. That is where they're at. Now, I'm not saying that you need to interact with them. I'm not saying you need to spend time with them. But instead of just judging them behind closed doors and doing your own thing and just being angry about it, consider what's the deeper issue underneath that. What change could be created? How can you cultivate that change? How can you be a part of that change? How can you make a difference? Even if it's just within your own intimate community, utilize your energy and your feelings for the greater good of all. Okay? Laurel, get creative. Even the smallest changes help. 100%. You have no idea how many incredible individuals send me messages and say, I've been following you for a couple of years, Dee, and I love what you're putting out there and you've really helped me move through things. I didn't know that. I didn't know they were following. They've never commented. They've never done anything else. I just keep believing that if I can find that positivity and that growth within myself, it's worthy of sharing. And so I do it for me, but also just hoping that someone will receive it, and they do. But I didn't know that for years because no one told me. I just kept sharing. And so in time, I was able to see that impact that I was having, and now it fuels me to do even more. So remembering that you might not be able to see the changes you're creating right away, but when you cultivate this sense of peace internally, that's what helps to make this big, beautiful change in the world. Christina, well said, so true. Thank you for that, Christina. And Nikki, bring awareness, offer solutions. 100%. Instead of being a part of the problem in terms of just complaining about everything, let's bring some growth. Let's bring some new concepts. Let's bring even some compassion for some of those individuals who are doing these terrible things. If we bring compassion to them, there's a chance energetically they'll feel it and maybe a change will happen. I don't know. But also, you start to see them as a person. You start to see them as a person who likely grew up in a household where there was no love, where there was no compassion, where there was no space for them to be who they were. There's always a reason that we do what we do, for all of us. We have past traumas, past wounds, all of these pieces that lead us to be who we are. So just remember that, okay? Okay, I love you. I'm so grateful that we shared this space and this time together. I'm going to go do my belly fit workout, but before I go, I want to show you this girl. Come here, you. This is my puppy. Her name is Dixie, and we love her very much. Oh, yeah, that's a girl. And I want to hear, what's your biggest takeaway? What feels like the most important part of this whole conversation today? What feels like the part that you're going to be remembering as you go into your weekend and having interactions with yourself and with your community and everyone else around you? So go ahead and comment in, what's your biggest takeaway from today's Friday morning show? And for those of you who are watching the replay, thank you so much for joining and tuning in a little bit later. I so appreciate it. And for those of you who are currently at this moment at the Women's Holistic Business Conference in Kelowna, I want to send you big, big love and say congratulations for putting yourself first in this way. That is amazing. Elizabeth is such an incredible mentor. Take in all that you can from her. Soak up all that goodness and all that knowledge. It will make a difference, and it'll just... enjoy that community. It's a beautiful place to be. I love you all so much. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Until next Friday, or, here's a piece actually. On Wednesday, this coming Wednesday, I have a very powerful podcast episode coming out. I recorded it yesterday morning at 7 a.m. in my white fluffy robe, like boom, this has to come out now. It's all about money and investing and your worthiness. It's a really big one. So Wednesday morning, the Empowered Podcast on iTunes Podcast. You'll be able to check it out there. Love you. Bye.